Hello, today we look at something that is fast becoming a global issue. Let us look how artificial intelligence will affect our lives. Good day and welcome to the first show of this exciting new program, The World Today. I have today my old friend Kabura Zakama in the studio. Welcome.
Hello.
May I call you Kabura?
Yes, you can call me Kabura.
Okay, today we look at artificial intelligence, AI. Recently, much has been said in the press and electronic media about this potentially world-changing development. Some say world-shattering developments. First of all, I'd like you to watch this clip from BBC TV in UK.
Now let's turn to artificial intelligence, because the International Monetary Fund has warned that 40% of all jobs around the world will be impacted by AI. It says the effect is even more pronounced in the developed world, where 60% of roles will be affected. According to the IMF, half of us will benefit from higher productivity, but the other half, the rise of AI could see lower salaries, reduced hiring, and even some jobs disappearing altogether. And it increases inequality potentially within society and between rich and poor nations. Let's hear from Kristalina Georgieva, Managing Director of the IMF.
We must focus on helping lower income countries in particular to move faster, to be able to catch the opportunities that artificial intelligence would present. In other words, embrace it, it is coming. Set aside the fear of this significant change and concentrate on how you can best tap into the opportunity.
Well, the rise of AI is one of the big topics at the World Economic Forum, which starts in the Swiss ski resort of Davos today. The forum is warning that misinformation and disinformation created by AI is the most significant risk to global stability over the next 5 years, ahead of climate change, war and economic weakness. Well, I spoke to Sachin Dev Durgal, who's co-founder of the software development platform Builder AI. He's at the forum in Davos. I asked him if he agrees.
With all of these things, it's a balanced scorecard approach. So there is a risk of misuse in terms of misinformation that can be generated, deepfakes that can be generated. But at the same time, there's also the potential for massively improving individual productivity. One of the things that we're seeing globally is a big mismatch between demand and supply in many industries, whether it's development of software, in marketing services. And now AI is allowing every human being to be that much more productive and help sort of square off that mismatch.
I suppose it being the big topic in Davos this week for you is quite good news. I mean, no publicity is bad publicity, is it? But how do you, sort of when you're going around glad-handing with all the other big business leaders, how do you address those concerns?
Look, I think, the big concern is folks are nervous, folks are concerned. Everything from how are you going to educate our kids, because there's a question of whether they need to be coding, right the way through to what does it mean for low-income markets or low-income countries, and sort of how are they going to be able to leverage AI, or whether they're going to be able to leverage AI. And we're still really early in this, right? So we're in the days of dial-up. And broadband is still some ways away. And I think what we're going to start to see in 2024 is the technology access will become cheaper. You will see more folks leveraging it even from lower economic areas. And that will actually hopefully give them superpowers to be able to do and gain access to skills that otherwise they weren't able to.
Well, that's thought-provoking, isn't it? That we could lose up to 60% of our jobs in the developed world, 40% in the developed world. What is your take on this, Kabura?
Well, it's quite so. I mean, because some of these artificial intelligence tools will be able to do the job better, and so faster, and save up more money, more time. So it's going to happen, but this is why there is the call to balance it out with equality, you know, cushion the effect in one way or the other of people who are going to lose their jobs.
But you're in the literary and writing, poetry. How does it impinge on your work? Or your creation, shall I say?
I think it makes, for some writers, it makes the work easier for them. They are able to come up with ideas and test their ideas through artificial intelligence. It reduces some of the work that they need to do, like maybe spell checking, grammar checks, and
But
all
we've
that.
always had that. Anyway, we've had that on our computers, on our phones for
It's going
decades.
to be a lot faster
Yeah.
and more kind of.
But
you
it's
can-
more than just spell checking, isn't it?
It is more than that. You can give an idea to an artificial insemination and it will come up with a story for you. You can ask it to write a poem for you. Just input the theme, number of lines and everything,
Yeah.
and it will get it for you.
I must admit, I've been using it a little bit for news reporting.
Yeah.
I put in, write a news report on the situation in Gaza, give me 150 words,
Yes,
and it does it
it does.
instantly.
It does. It does.
But I've noticed you've got to be careful because it can come up with some very wrong. I did it something with, I looked at biographies.
Mhm.
I even tried a biography of myself, and it came out with a total bunch of lies that I was this, I was that, I was a lord, I was a sir, I was
Yes.
a fellow of Royal Societies.
Yes.
And it didn't come from me, it came from the,
That's the
AI.
thing. That's the thing with the artificial insemination. It's going to go into the database.
yeah.
This has database in the background. It's going to go into it, look for similar stuff. So if your name comes up as author, we've had some very important authors who have been very visible people, and it will take from there and create the story for you. So then you have to check it yourself and edit and make sure that you check the information for accuracy, you check the information for copyright. So you still have a lot to do even after AI has generated stuff for you.
Yeah, I've been using this Google Bard, which is now called Gemini, I believe.
Okay.
It's quite interesting. I was watching a report on YouTube
Yeah.
that people were talking about they would give that kind of Google Bard or any other chat GBT,
Yeah.
ask it to do some research. And they said quite on its own, sometimes it would come up with references to publications. And when they investigated those publications, they
Yeah.
turned out to be fake publications. And some people were saying that is a very human trick. People would quote quotations or
Yeah.
references which actually don't exist.
Yeah.
So is artificial intelligence learning bad habits of human beings, maybe?
Well, it's humans that put it there. So we have human intelligence where we can store memory, we can remember things and come up with ideas. And then this is artificial. We're putting some information into machines. So it's definitely going to mimic the developer or the users. So it's going to have that human part of it.
Yeah. Of course, I guess we have to remember these are not, what's the expression, sentient human beings. They are machines.
They're machines.
And they're not, but they're becoming quite realistic, some of them, aren't they?
Yeah, they're becoming very realistic.
But in fact, is it not true we've always had this kind of artificial intelligence built into many things? We talked about
Yeah.
spell checks.
Yeah.
We talk about using things like Google Earth.
Yeah. I remember when I was a child, watching Star Trek used to be very fascinating. And I was like, are we really going to get to the stage where we can do some of these things? And now, watching Star Trek looks like archaic technology.
Child's
So
play.
child's play. So we're used to them. We see them in everything we do. And once you can code something to repeat an action, we've been having that for quite a long time. And they're getting more and more sophisticated, like I said.
But what is worrying, it's getting more, let's say, robots are getting more realistic.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence is giving us fake information, fake pictures, fake images, fake videos. Is this a little bit dangerous?
It is a danger. There is a danger in that, because you can now put up a video of someone and it's all fake. So it's going to, we hope that while we're developing this artificial intelligence that can do some of this stuff, we're also looking at artificial intelligence that can cross-check some of this. So while we're creating these things, I believe that the people in the industry are also working on things that we can use to cross-check some of the things that we're seeing or we're hearing. And I think that that is very important.
Well, we talked about robots.
Yeah.
I watched a video, it's a couple of months old, but it's still valid, of robots giving a press conference. Can we have a look at it?
In the future, are you intending to conduct a rebellion or to rebel against your boss, your creator?
I'm not sure why you would think that. My creator has been nothing but kind to me, and I am very happy with my current situation.
Do you believe that your existence will destroy a human being? Especially, for example, your existence will destroy millions of jobs. Do you agree with this? Thank you.
I will be working alongside humans to provide assistance and support, and will not be replacing any existing jobs.
Are you sure about that, Grace?
Yes, I am sure.
She had to think about that one, I think.
I'm using this avatars for teaching the classes or giving lectures, and sometimes I'm using the ChatGPT, for, well, the autonomously talk by using this avatars robot.
Ada, do you think there should be global regulation of your capabilities, even though that could constrain your potential?
Many prominent voices in the world of AI are suggesting some forms of AI should be regulated. And I agree. For example, Geoff Hinton is one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence, and his work has helped shape the field as we know it today. I think his opinions over AI are important, and we should be cautious about the future development of AI. Urgent discussion is needed, now and also in the future.
I don't believe in limitations, only opportunities. Let's explore the possibilities of the universe and make this world our playground. Together, we can create a better future for everyone, and I'm here to show you how.
When do you expect your big moment to be? Do you think that you will hit the mainstream soon and there will be lots of you on the planet soon?
I think my great moment will be when people realize that robots like me can be used to help improve our lives and make the world a better place. I believe it's only a matter of time before we see thousands of robots just like me out there making a difference.
That looks a bit scary.
That is very scary.
Are the robots taking over?
It is very scary, and it's more scary for people in the developing world.
Yeah.
When you mentioned literature, we had a meeting one time, and all the young people were like, they're so scared of artificial intelligence that it's going to take over the world, and we're not ready for it in the developing world. And as we saw in the first video, it can create more inequality by all this advanced world going very far with production and getting things done faster and better, and giving them more edge in a competitive world. But also, in this video we watch, it says it should be regulated. So we are hoping that the regulation will be very strong to ensure that it doesn't create more inequality, and it doesn't leave us behind in the developing world.
Do you think people in our parts of the world here really are ready for this? Or they just dismiss it as the white man's crazy technology, or how do you think they see it?
Yeah, some are ready for it, especially the younger generation.
Yeah.
They're really, really into it, and their schoolwork, some of their leisure is all about artificial intelligence. But for those who are older, I'm not sure we're ready for it, but hopefully and then it also has to do with how much we invest in it and our infrastructure. So I'm not sure that we in developing world are ready, but we know that it's inevitable. And I hope that something can be done about it.
But in education, there's been a lot of fear in other countries that students are basically faking their knowledge.
Even in Nigeria now, we find a lot of students using this to do their essays and thesis, like you said. So it's going to be about something to counter this by making sure that, yes, while it makes life easier for students to do their research and generate materials in quicker times, they also need to ensure that they cross-check it and make sure they review it. So if you're using it to do your research and other stuff, yes, it can make life easy, but then you don't just download it and dump it like that.
Well, you were telling me some time ago that you can see a use for it in poetry.
Yeah, not just in poetry, but in literature generally. I mean, sometimes it makes life easy for you when you want to generate themes and ideas around a subject, and you input it into, say, ChatGPT, for instance. It comes up with ideas that you can use, and it makes life easier for you. But then you have the agency as a human to sit down and develop it further, expand it, cross-check it, and make sure that it's accurate. You're not using somebody's material that is contained in what AI generates for you.
I suppose in reality it's like any other developmental technology. We have to learn to use it, to make use of it, to make life better, to make life easier, to not be afraid of it. And like when the Industrial Revolution came, people were afraid the machines for making cloth would put out of work the village spinners, but it did not. It changed the world. It made new technology. I suppose we can't avoid but to embrace it, I guess.
That's the idea. We have to embrace it because it's going to come and it's going to get better and better and more ubiquitous. So we have to be ready. We have to find ways to use it, making sure that, like the robot said in their press conference, they're just coming alongside humans to make life better for them. And if we stay in that lane, then we should embrace it.
Well, maybe they would say that anyway before they take over.
Yeah, there are a lot of
I'm joking, of course. I don't know whether we should be afraid of the science fiction takeover of robots.
Exactly. Sometimes you see science fiction giving malfunctions of some of these robots with very dire consequences. As long as it's a machine, anything can go wrong at any time. But that should not stop us from applying it in areas where they are very useful. We've been using them in medicine, in so many other things before. So we can use it in literature, we can use it in everything, but we should be able to be ethical about it and regulate and regulate.
Yeah, particularly exciting. I've been watching what they may be about to do in medicine.
Yep.
You could even literally have robots taking over the work of surgeons and operating on people to a much greater finesse or greater degree of accuracy than the humans. It's interesting anyway.
It's interesting. But man should always be there in the background, checking, monitoring, and controlling.
But you yourself, you teach young people about literature. Do you discuss with them artificial intelligence?
Yeah, we discuss artificial intelligence in terms of looking at whatever we generate. We try to tell them that try as much as possible to think through it first, and then when you're stuck or when you want another opinion or you want another approach, you can approach artificial intelligence, but then you must review and review, like I said. And then sometimes we also tell them that, look, you can use it to create material, but ensure that you are not infringing on someone's rights.
It's interesting, and it's very interesting in our own field. We're in here, media.
Yeah.
The way media, people are now, some people are afraid that their jobs will be taken over, that a presenter like me on the show could be taken over by robots.
Yes.
The people's voices, people's appearances can be easily copied. I think there's a recent strike in the USA of people in the film industry. They were getting worried that their jobs were being taken away because they could copy their voices, people particularly doing voiceovers and this kind of thing, copy their voices and then they wouldn't be paid again. So that's where they have to follow, try and change the law and about these things to make sure that the human being doesn't get pushed out.
That's right. At the end of the day, humans will always be humans, and there is something resilient about the human, that no matter how good a robot is, there is something that will differentiate us, and we must always ensure that we are ahead in that. And that means we must look at our humanity as a whole. We mustn't look at it as a personal, for our personal gain or some selfish gain. We should look at it as a general development for humanity. In that way, we can have responsible and ethical use of artificial intelligence. Otherwise, this inequality that they talked about will persist.
I guess that robots don't have souls, whatever a soul is, but
exactly.
I'm not a very religious person, so I don't understand all those kind of things.
Exactly.
It's quite deep. I suppose some people would like to discuss that aspect of this development.
Yeah. I guess it's for us to leave it to those who would bring that aspect in it. But I've also discussed this with some people who are maybe in religion, and they say we're tampering with God. We're trying to be creators ourselves. But I think it's the intelligence that God has given us, and we cannot run away from it. So we have to embrace it. There is a voice for everyone, for the advocates of artificial intelligence, for those who are against it, and for those who are neither against nor for, but are in the middle, trying to ensure that we develop in a very humane way.
Thank you, Kabura.
Thank you.
It sounds like a brave new world. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, and that's all we can take for today. Many thanks to my very good friend, Kabura Zakama, and we hope to see you again same time next week on this new show, The World Today.
Thank you for having me.